Hey guys, welcome to another video, and I'm Aditya, and I try to call my channel Everything Vehicular. So in this video, I'm going to mainly discuss about this 44 teeth sprocket that I fixed on my KTM RC390 that you can look behind me. So let's get started. Okay, to begin with, the KTM RC390 does not come with a 44 teeth sprocket, it comes with a 45 teeth sprocket. So the driver sprocket is 15 and the driven sprocket is 45. So this is a modification that I've done. I've reduced one tooth from the rear sprocket and took it down to 44. To start with, from where did I source the sprocket? This sprocket is mainly sourced from KTM Duke 390, the 2017 model, when they just turned BS3 to BS4. So because of the conversion from BS3 to BS4, the motorcycle lost some of its top end performance. To compensate with that, KTM thought of putting a 44 teeth sprocket at the rear, so to mainly improve the top speed of the motorcycle. That said and done, the Duke 390, RC390, 125s, your Pulsars, Dominar, everybody, they run on the same PCD, so you can interchange the sprocket. And obviously these parts are standardized parts, so you can definitely get one out and fix the other one from the other motorcycle. So effectively, but this is after 2017. Before 2017, they were running on different PCDs, okay? So you have to keep that in mind. Also, one more thing, whenever you are looking forward to buy this sprocket, you can actually purchase this very sprocket individually. You do not have to purchase the small sprocket, the large sprocket, and the whole chain all together. From 2017 onward, KTM sort of sells all these parts individually, and I can show you on the bill. This sprocket does not even cost more than 1000 rupees. The whole set will definitely cost you closer to 2000 rupees or something. I believe that also includes the labor, but the point is you can definitely buy one single sprocket from KTM. I can also vouch that this very sprocket comes individually in its own packing, so it is not a whole set anymore. Okay, coming back to the 44 teeth sprocket in the Duke 390, that sprocket does not really perform as well as you expect it to, because the fueling in the motorcycle is not right. When you go in the higher revs, maybe in the overdrive gear, the 5th or the 6th gear, you sort of lose the forward pacing capacity, and the motorcycle sort of falls short of acceleration or increasing speed in general. So this is a problem that you cannot solve by changing the sprocket, but by changing the exhaust manifold. Obviously the BS4 norms were strict and the BS6 norms are even stricter. That is probably why the 2020 BS6 Duke 390 comes with a 1545 sprocket setup. That is the stock setup available with the KTM RC390 here. So, and also the old Duke 390. So 1545, the final drive ratio of 3 is actually the apt sprocket size for majority of the KTMs on sale in the market. Okay, so now coming back to the main content, this 44 teeth sprocket on my KTM RC390. This was not the wisest thing to do, and I just installed it, went on a few rides, rode it for a few hundred kilometers, and then just removed it, and I put in a 46 teeth sprocket that I have sourced from the Duke 250, although that will be covered in a different video. So coming back to the 44 teeth sprocket over here, that is not the wisest thing to do. Okay, so this is not the right kind of modification if you're looking for top speed. The thing is, you have to get rid of this catalytic converter over here. There are definitely aftermarket pipes available that will improve your top speed, and then maybe this sprocket will help you go above 178 km per hour mark. Because if you've been riding the KTM 390, the stock sprocket setup mainly takes it up to 178 km per hour, and then that is when the rev limiter cuts in and the fuel cutoff happens. So the problems that I faced with the 44 teeth sprocket here are the fact that my motorcycle could not go above 165 km per hour. Yes, that is true. So like I said, I could not go above 165. That is not because the sprocket was limiting it. In theory, this sprocket is good enough up to 183 km per hour, but the problem with this sprocket is that it needs a free-flowing exhaust system. This is a BS4 model, so this runs on a very restricted exhaust setup that does not really let me accelerate past XYZ speed. For example, my motorcycle would do 0 to 100 really quickly, 100 to 130 impressively fast, and then 130 to 150 decently, and then it would sort of run out of breath, and that is all because of the restricted exhaust system that the BS4 motorcycle gets. I mean, I was genuinely really happy to see that I was that I could in theory go up to 183 kilometer per hour. I mean, obviously that was the math that I did on paper, but that did not really translate into the real world performance, because my real world performance was, like I said, very well limited to 165 kilometer per hour. Although I can see the revs climbing high, but it was very difficult for the motorcycle to build pace after 165. It would go up to 170 kilometer per hour, but that's about it. That's the most it could do, and that is the trouble with this setup, right? Because KTM's are mental, they are mad performance. It would go all the way up to top speed. It will hit the rev limiter, it will cut off its fuel and come back to a lower speed, and then again accelerate towards the top speed number. That is what KTM is all about, and this sprocket setup will only shine or will only perform if it has a free flowing exhaust. That I do not have right now, but I've already ordered for one, so that also is content for some other video. Okay, another problem that I had with this sprocket setup was in the BS4 model, KTM had already improved the fueling to a great extent, and when I fit this sprocket in, it sort of went back to the way it was with the BS3 model, the one that was sold in 2014, 15 and 16. This one came out in 2017, so the fueling issue, so this was not in particularly a fueling issue, but a whole drivetrain issue, because the fueling was very calm and sober, but apparently this sprocket needs a little aggressive fueling, like one of those kinds that you can't crawl but you have to clutch it in. So this sprocket sort of started giving some sort of knock. There was a lot of chain slack. That is because it was not really going through the same amount of mechanical traction that it is meant to be. Okay, so here I finished the cons of the 44 teeth sprocket. First, to wrap it up, this modification was done to attain higher top speed, higher than 178 km per hour. I wanted to breach the 180 km per hour mark. That was not possible because I do not have a free flowing exhaust with the motorcycle. One. Second, it sort of started giving me a knock. I had to use my clutch more than usual. So that is also a con in my opinion, because I mainly ride in bumper to bumper traffic, and even if the clutch is light, it is still a hassle to constantly keep using it in the lower gears. Okay, now we move to the pros of the 44 teeth sprocket, and trust me, there are a few pros. To begin with, this sprocket sort of gives you a calmer ride. The motorcycle's aggression is completely taken away. If you like KTM's but you do not like the aggressive nature of the motorcycle, so this is the sprocket to go for. You have to reduce it to an extent that the motorcycle sort of is in your control all the time, and even if you go hard on the gas, this will not slide out from underneath your butt. This will not pop up a wheelie with this sprocket, but it will deliver all the 40 horses that it is supposed to do. Okay, so needless to say that the aggression is reduced, so this is not the wisest choice for stunters. If you are a stunter, if you are looking forward to upgrade your sprocket from 45 to 44, definitely it is a thumb rule. If you are into stunting, you need larger sprocket. So this sprocket would actually suit better for the 200s. The 200s run on 42 teeth rear sprocket, so this actually will improve your drivetrain, the mechanical acceleration to an extent where it will be really helpful for you in stunting. So if you are using a 200, I think 200 uses a 1542 sprocket size, so the 42 can be switched for a 44. So this, and because it is from a 390, this is more durable because it is actually meant to handle so much, like 30-35 Newton meters of torque and 40 horsepower. So the mechanical longevity of this sprocket is much higher than the 200s. Okay, so now I'm coming to the second pro because this 44 teeth sprocket setup reduces the final drive ratio, the gear spread becomes a lot wider. So you can hold on to each of your gear for a very longer period of time, and because you can do that, you can definitely think of having very less shifts. If you are in bumper to bumper traffic, you can probably keep it in the first gear, take it to a higher speed without shifting up to second, and you can come back down. So that's one thing of this very sprocket that I really do miss, because right now I'm running on a very closer ratio sprocket. So this 44 teeth sprocket was actually a widespread final drive ratio. Okay, but this sprocket actually takes away your roll-on acceleration. You will not really pace forward that quickly as you would with the stock setup. So the roll-on acceleration is taken away, but that also means that the ride is much more calmer. The chassis remains much more flatter even under a hard acceleration, because the acceleration is not that aggressive. So the chassis wouldn't squat as much as it would do on the stock setup, or even on an aggressive stunting setup. Okay, so I would also like to mention that KTM has done away with this sprocket. So this sprocket was only available with the KTM Duke 390, from which was on sale from 2017 to 2020, early 2020. So 17, 18, 19, 20 got 1544 sprocket setup that I have right now with me. But the 2020 KTM Duke 390 has moved to a larger sprocket, maybe because the BS6 norms have sort of restricted the whole drivetrain in a way that KTM has to rely on mechanical energy to make the motorcycle perform the same way as it would before. Okay, so if you are a KTM owner, this 44 teeth sprocket that I have right now will fit into your motorcycle no matter what. 125, 200, 250, 390, all whatever you want, and definitely do all your math that is necessary if you are looking for acceleration or if you are looking for top speed. So that is one thing. So if you've been riding a Dominar and if you're actually pissed off with the shorter RPM band, the 9500 RPM, this sprocket will help you reduce or maybe widespread the gear ratio or the final drive ratio, because with that you can hold on to your gears for a lot longer. Okay, so you can definitely fit the 44 teeth sprocket in your Dominar, but I completely recommend against that, because the Dominar 400 is actually a very heavy motorcycle, and it needs that torque that the mechanical torque that the 1545 drivetrain will actually offer. But if you fix in this 44 teeth sprocket in the Dominar 400, that will definitely make you ride more relaxed in the traffic with less gear shifts. But at the end of the day, you will have to increase your acceleration to match the loss of torque, and that will lead into your fuel efficiency a little bit. Okay, so to quickly wrap it up, the 44 teeth sprocket is actually a good decision if you are looking forward for a lot of bumper to bumper riding. It will help you in reducing your gear shifts a lot. It will make the motorcycle a lot less aggressive than what it is. On the cons side, it will eat your top speed if you are looking forward. In theory it should improve your top speed, but like I said, it needs an exhaust manifold, a free flowing exhaust manifold. Then the 44 teeth sprocket will actually improve your top speed, or else it will not really, it will basically make the motorcycle a 5-speed motorcycle rather than a 6-speed motorcycle, because in the 6th gear you will only hold the revs, you will not increase your acceleration. So this sprocket is an ideal fit for the old KTM Duke 390 that used the 1545 sprocket, and it had a freer flowing exhaust basically. So the old KTM Duke 390, not the one with the TFT screen, but the older LED screen, that KTM Duke 390 can benefit a lot from this sprocket. The old RC390, yes, that can benefit a lot from this sprocket. The top speed can actually go above 180 km per hour, obviously on the odometer, but yes, it will improve the top speed a lot more than what I gained from this sprocket, because my motorcycle is a BS4 motorcycle. It has a lot of restrictions, etc, etc. So bottom line, this sprocket can basically fit into majority of the KTM motorcycles and a few of the Pulsar range. the NS 200 and the RS 200, the Dominar 250 and the Dominar 400. So summing it up, this sprocket is actually an ideal fit for Bajaj and KTM. At the moment, I do not know which other motorcycles use the same PCD, but I hope this information is useful to you. So comment below if you actually learned something from this video, or if you have any queries regarding the drivetrain modification of any other motorcycle that I can actually put light on. So I am Aditya. I try to call my channel Everything Vehicular, and thank you for watching. I hope this video was really helpful to you, because I have been through a lot to make this video.